Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes, I can hear you fine.
Hello. Good morning, Dimitris.
Good morning.
How are you?
All good.
Nice.
Preparing.
Time no see.
Yeah. Yeah. We're gonna be in Fosdem, right? We're gonna meet there.
Sorry, what?
We're gonna be in Fosdem.
Yes.
Is that
Yes.
right? Yeah, awesome. Okay. We're gonna meet there soon. All right.
Yeah. Looking forward to it,
Looking
man.
forward. Yeah, me too.
You're gonna be there with the family, right?
No, not the whole family, just my older son.
Okay.
One kid at a time. One kid at a time,
Yes.
and my wife. But yeah.
I know.
I might take the daughters to the Cloud Native Days in Italy if we make it there. I think
Oh,
we're gonna be there.
then I'll be. I'm gonna be there as well. I think they're gonna be, the whole team is gonna be there.
We're trying to, still discussing. But yeah.
Nice.
Hi Mauro. Hi Chaka.
Hello, everyone.
Hola. Buenos dias.
Buenos dias.
Buenos días.
How's your mom doing, William?
Oh, she's better. She's out of the hospital. I picked her up Saturday.
Nice.
So, nice. But now there are gonna be specialist doctors that I have to arrange and all these things. So now the real work starts.
Yeah. Sorry to hear, but glad she's out of the risky part, I guess.
Yeah. She scared me. Yeah, indeed.
Ettore is supposed to be back, huh?
Yeah, I'm not sure if he knows we're on Zoom. There's still a calendar event with the old link or with the Google Meet link. We remove that.
I'll send it to him. Since we're all here, I think William is going to Fosdem. We're going to Fosdem, so we should just so that everyone knows and we can catch up if we see us there. I know that Fosdem is super chaotic, so chances of meeting are also reduced sometimes, but for sure we can find some time, I think, to do some catch up and drink something.
We might
together.
have more time in Ghent. Are you also going to the Ghent config management camp, William?
I didn't plan to, but I'm open to the option.
Yeah, because I'm going to be there for 4 days, I think. We're only staying one night in Brussels, just for Fosdem, and then on Sunday we're going to be staying in Ghent for the workshop and the event there.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. I'm gonna still be thinking about it. It will be cool.
Okay.
Wait, Ettore is on the other channel. I'm going to log in. So you might hear double. No, I'm just gonna mute myself here. I'll be
Planning. Let me check.
all right. He should be coming.
All right. Let me share my screen in the meantime. Zoom. Where is it? There it is. Okay. And then that. Do you see my screen? I think you do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. And then I have to move this somewhere. There. I don't know. Alrighty. So it's been a while since we Did planning. Like you said, we have some work to do. At least me and Mauro for the workshop we have in Ghent. That has been taking most of my time last week, and I still have some things to finish up because I discovered our cloud image process doesn't work with Hadron yet because of the grab sim missing. So when it tries to reset, it doesn't find the file, doesn't know what to do, and fails. So I'm trying to fix that because I'm planning to use Hadron images in one of the steps, and it's good to fix that anyway. So yeah, there are adjacent things to the actual workshop, which I'm preparing. So I'm doing any fix needed to make the workshop process smooth and all. So that's what.
Hi, Tori.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, welcome back, man.
Welcome back.
Thank you. How are you doing? And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Happy New Year.
Yeah, happy New Year.
All good. All good. We started planning, kind of. So I was just saying what we're doing mostly last week. Before we jump into the board, anything you want to bring up, Ettore, since you joined for the first time after the break?
Yeah, I'm catching up still, so all good.
Okay, so let me continue and see. So what wasn't done? More logging to the provider. I think I was involved in that in some way. No, it was just closed. Yeah, I reopened it, I think, at some point. Yeah, and then it was closed again because it's told. I think we can leave it closed then. It's something you would fix anyway when you need it, so I don't think we need to plan for it. Nobody has touched it for quite some time. That's closed again automatically, I believe. Yeah, closed automatically, just suggestion for the README, which will have been made directly. Blog post, I think that was for Hadron, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is live now, all right?
Yeah, it's live. And since we're talking about blog posts, the CNCF blog also has the one with Jordan and me about the work together with our AI imaging. And also, I talked to their team so that also the blog post that we did together last year with William, so that it includes also the different projects that were involved. So if you go now to the Kairos project, you will see those two blogs listed through the CNCF, which is really cool in my opinion. And we should try to get, I don't know, at least a couple more this year, ideally. And one of them should be Hadron. That's why talking about Hadron brought the whole thing. So if you click now on the underneath, you can see the projects. You can click on it, and then you will see all the listed related blog posts.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Nice.
Yeah, it's nice, huh?
Yeah.
So how do you usually navigate to that? I mean, okay, I found it through an existing post, but how do people find that? They go to, I don't know, maybe Sandbox?
Yeah, you can come through the Sandbox, I think, and I think also through the landscape.
Yeah, all right. And you click there, and then you see blog posts here. Where's Hadron?
And you can see also all the stats up there. That is also something we improved with Rian. Some of our repos were not being taken into account, but now it properly shows. So look how much, look our software value, 6.9 million.
Huh? Nice. And I can get the ETX. Come on.
I knew it was coming.
This is 2,000 contributors. I think this number may be wrong.
I think it must be contributions, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Because contributing organizations, 800, I don't think so.
Yeah, but I think the way it's calculated is also a contribution is also considered to be somebody opening an issue on the GitHub repo or
Oh,
targeted GitHub repo. Because me telling you that there is a problem
Still a
with
lot, though. 2,000? And we don't even have 2,000
yeah.
tickets.
yeah, it's
Could
a
be
bit weird.
closet, right? It's also between open and closet.
Yeah, maybe it adds all the repos we have. So maybe.
Yeah, could be. But then if I open an issue on each one of the repo, then am I counted me plus the many me in the other repos?
Yeah, I would say it's more of a contributions than contributors, to be honest.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Okay. I don't know.
Yeah, I should be able to see 2,000 people here. That's why I'm taking the lower ones to see whom it counts.
Oh, look, I am 117.
No,
I barely work.
that's the second year. Oh, I'm here as well. Okay, now it makes sense. It takes us twice. Okay, here again. Igor.
Oh.
All right.
Oh, if
I have
it
some ban.
duplicates,
Oh, my name. Wow.
Yeah.
Contributor.
But maybe we should
Oh,
mention that or figure out what that is.
Why? It makes us look good, man. Look, Jordan is again here. Maybe it's the emails. Maybe they count the emails. So some of my contributions come with a different email on GitHub.
well, why
Yeah.
I'm not a maintainer? Did you guys fire me already?
You were complaining too much.
I'm also not a maintainer in there.
Look, Chaka is not a maintainer, but he has done 44% of the contribution.
What a volunteer, right?
Yeah.
We're not even paying this guy. Amazing.
I think it must be related to your LFX account, Ichaka. Somehow that email and the one that is in the maintainers list from the CNCF must not match or something like that.
Oh yeah, I think you're right, Mauro, because also me doesn't put me as a maintainer.
Yeah.
And I think you put me as with the LFX account is Gmail. So yeah, of course. Yeah. Makes sense. Mauro, you are twice there.
Yeah.
I have to convince Ettore that he pays my salary. Yeah?
All right. Okay. Let's continue. Allow the user to also build standard images with the make file that was opened a little while ago, and we merged it. That's in Hadron, just a make target to build a standard image in case you want to test something out. How did I do that? Zoom in again. Add a maintainer application template. That's for the future to make it a little bit more official and
that is working now. So the part of what we're gonna ask you, William, is just to open a PR. Now, when you say create new issue, there will be one that says new maintainer application.
Yeah.
And it will. There is some context there of the information that you need to add. And once this is finished, one of the existing maintainers can say /vote. And then the same process that you get for voting in the different CNCF projects gets started. We still need to define how many of the maintainers have to say yes and no. So don't open it just yet, but I think sometime this week that should be sorted out. And then as soon as it's voted positively, it automatically creates an issue for the onboarding, so that we just make everything official. And the only thing that we should add here, I guess, is that we say that you're already a maintainer, but this is just to to comply with the official process or something like that.
Okay, got it. Yeah, it's nice also for the public view. Yeah, absolutely.
How is this implemented? Just to know for the future, we have to fix something. Is there a bot?
Yes.
Monitoring?
So the CNCF has a project called GitVote, And you install that one on the organization, on a certain repo of the organization. Only a Torre can do that now. And once it's installed, you just add inside Kairos a .gitvote file where you describe how the voting mechanism should work. And you can have multiple voting mechanisms for different areas of the project. It's actually a very cool project for what I see.
Okay, you have a link there. Nice. Okay. Nice. Okay. The community calendar I changed, but for some reason it's still on the calendar. I saw the old link. I changed it in the docs. Okay, but I still saw that in the what is that? In my Google Calendar. Anyway, we have to check. We don't have any leftover links, but in the docs, it's pointing to Zoom. So
cool.
Yeah, that was a request to. Yeah, we're discussing how to add more directories. So, yeah, in manual install, you can only pass one config file. So it's the positional argument you pass to the manual install command of the Kairos agent. And in some conversation, it came up that people wanted to also have all the others combined, like in /om and whatever, the default locations and respected. And to allow that, we added one Boolean flag, which says, yeah, use the default locations as well, combined with what I'm passing as a positional argument. So that has been merged. Replace short flag with long. That's just in pipelines, I think. No, in Aurora Boot, because we changed some of the short flags, changed the usage. So I don't remember which one. I think the -v is now a different thing than what it used to be, and that confused people. So let's make sure we all use the long names for all flags, so that people don't get confused if they remember the old flags and their meaning and whatever. So that was merged too. Actually, there was a bug with that anyway. It wasn't just a renaming. One of them was wrong now. Then here, I think Mauro is pretending to work here and he is opening tickets and closing them.
Indeed. I just want to have majority for voting.
Yeah. Here. All of that. We can ignore it. And then, yeah, containerd, again, Renovate bot was doing crazy stuff, bumping versions and then reverting it and whatever. So we disabled the Renovate bot for containerd in other repos, and that's just doing it for Kairos SDK as well. If you see that happening in other repos, just check here, or I think the Kairos agent was the other one, and disable it. I think we tried and couldn't fix it, so we just disabled it. Then there was a bug in the docs. Some links didn't work. They still don't work in the dev branch. So if you go to the docs, in that specific page, I think it was the page, yeah, the erga page. So if you go here now, under the 360, the URLs, there's a QA, this one, I think. Yeah, it didn't have, and it still doesn't for some reason. Oh, interesting, because I am under 3.6. Mauro, it seems that I didn't rebuild it. There should be a dash here, I think. Maybe I need an empty commit to rebuild it. I pushed to the branch, but I think in the past.
You have to push to the branch and then main has to build.
So I need an empty commit on main, right?
Yeah, exactly, unfortunately. Since we're talking about that, I reached out to Jasper. He has been contributing. He's one of the IMEC lab people who are working with Kairos at the moment. And the guy that proposed that we switch to Docusaurus. He says he will be available. He's just coming back from vacation today, so he couldn't attend today. But we can discuss that with him. So it's really more a matter of us as a team deciding whether we actually want the switch to Docusaurus or if we stick to Doxy with its release versions, quirks, whatever.
I mean, like we discussed, I don't have any preference to any of this, as long as it works. So if there is a problem we have that is solved by switching, I'm all in for that. We just have to, decide how much we gain by switching, because it will cost us time and there will be some churn until everything is fixed. So
Yeah. I mean, he's okay putting the time himself. But indeed, I mean, there is a cost of transition, even if we don't have to work on the feature.
Yeah. Because we can't force him to do that in 2 days, right? So if it takes 2 weeks, obviously we're going to be pushing new documentation to the old site, and somehow we have to make sure it makes it to the new one, and keeping branches open, whatever. I mean, let's discuss that when he's here in the call.
Yep, sounds good.
Okay. By the way, that doesn't work either. I think maybe the KTS version is wrong or something.
Can you change to so it's not Tumbleweed? Because I'm not sure if we use Tumbleweed anymore.
Is that the latest version? What is it? Yeah, that works. Right.
You don't like living on the edge?
Yeah, maybe we should remove it from the flavors here then, if we're not building.
Yeah.
Maybe we are not building for the rest of them. I'm not sure.
Debian testing is no longer in there, and Alpine is not 3.19 as well.
But maybe we should not do too many changes, because remember that the whole page will change to Hadron, and then that will not exist.
All right, okay, but at least it does. I don't know, because I want this page for the workshop, and I was hoping we have things people can actually copy and paste, even if we have to tell them, stick to whatever Ubuntu or something that works.
Yep.
But the dust there is missing, so I'm gonna put this back.
So, but what do you mean the other page we changed to Hadron? So you're not supporting anymore? We're not supporting the other operating systems?
No, on the contrary, everything is supported, but we've had a couple of problems in that people get a bit confused about all the flexibility of Kairos. So when you arrive to Kairos, everything will be suggested as just use it with Hadron. And we're also just going to release Hadron artifacts only, so that there's no confusion. You just go to our release page and you will see, 5 artifacts to download, and that's it. Instead of seeing 368, I think was the last artifact count. And then you still have the option to build anything you want to build. We still give you the factory action to put it on your own pipelines, to make it easy.
It makes sense, Mauro, but I'm just thinking about how this is going to look from an outside perspective, because now when you speak with members, with user base and members of the community, one of the first things is I can have everything immutable, and look at this, I can get my images of the operating system that I want. If my organization forces me to use X operating system because of whatever, then I can make that operating system immutable. And we also know, I understand that we're gonna give those instructions, but the first impression is often what gives the idea, what drives the idea. So when I'm looking at first, I'm only seeing one operating systems. How is that going to impact new user base? Are they going to think, no, Hadron is the only one supported, or are they going to think, with Kairos I can make anything immutable? So I'm just brainstorming.
It's a good point. I think that's where we have to get better at the user experience of the documentation page, because we actually already have that problem. There were some people who came to tell us, "Oh, I love Kairos. Unfortunately, it's only in Ubuntu." I'm like, "What?" Just because Ubuntu was the one that they saw for the first time. So it's still an open discussion to have. How do we make it so that people realize Kairos is this framework that allows you to convert all these different systems into immutable systems? But in the documentation, we use Hadron as an example, but you can use any of the others anytime. But yeah, indeed, it's a good point you make. We have to figure that out. And the other aspects that we need to figure out is that up until now, some people were able to simply hook to our artifacts, right? Like they were, if they wanted to upgrade and there was a new version, they just needed to say upgrade to the Quay.io, Kairos, whatever. We need to figure out how to, I don't know, not make it feel like it's a bad move for them.
Right.
Yeah, one suggestion I made, which maybe we can rethink, is that we can, since we have the reusable pipeline, and that's what we suggest people to do, we can maybe even do it ourselves and split in different repos, one for each old flavor, let's call it. So for each one we have here, we can build a repo with one, copy of that pipeline that still builds it. But we don't have to be too strict, like make everything green before we release or whatever, like we do now, right? That we are trying to get all the artifacts out. So let's say Ubuntu 24.10 breaks, it's not blocking the Kairos release. So we say as soon as Hadron works and builds and our pipelines work and some basic tests we're going to run for the other flavors as well. But yeah, if one of them breaks, it's up to the people interested in that flavor to provide fixes, because this list can keep growing. Remember, we had people wanting Alma Linux, which removed here, but yeah, there were people that were using it. So after some point, we should make it easy for people to contribute, not to necessarily to the big Kairos repo, but maybe just to the pipelines and fix what they have to fix for that specific flavor they want.
Makes sense to me. Makes sense to me, Dimitris. And one more thing that I would say. If you open up that drop-down list again from the operating systems, why are there all those? I mean, why is there bookworm and testing? Why there are all the versions of Ubuntu from 24.10 to 2004? If we want to provide an artifact, why don't we provide the latest table of the operating systems? And there are the pipelines, and they can copy the pipelines and build what they need, or well, not the pipeline, sorry, but there is the documentation, and then they can build what they want with those information. I think, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what is that I'm trying to say, but I just would like to avoid that. One of the cool things about Kairos is it doesn't get misunderstood. That's all.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it makes sense. One cool feature that we could do, and we discussed at some point, is that to have some mechanism to build with the web UI yourself. So maybe the official images could be requested, right? Like if nobody requests Fedora 40, for example, then it doesn't get built. But if as soon as someone does, it is there and people can download it, something like that. I think everything is on the table at the moment. We should really figure out what's the best way to make people feel like none of this is being put on the side, but it is still part of the focus of what Kairos is. Yeah.
So yeah, for me, it's more about simplifying the actual first steps to the system. Like not even educating immediately the users to Hadron. It should be like Kairos. So if you want to have Kairos with K3s or K0s, here you are. It's a very simple experience. You click on download the link and you get Edge Kubernetes cluster ready. And then from there, how I think to it, it should be like a journey. Like, okay, what if I want based on Ubuntu instead? because that's I see it already as an advanced user. You know what I mean? It's already somebody that knows exactly what he wants, and so because you have strict requirements, maybe. So I don't know. I was taking a little bit inspiration from like the Ubuntu or Fedora website. You know, I was thinking along those lines. So you offer first just the principal flavor that we have. Maybe we can highlight the core without any Kubernetes distro. So just to signal the user that Kairos by per se, it's not only Kubernetes, right? So because you can use it also, for instance, with Podman. You know, you could just put Podman on there and make it work with containers-based containers. You don't need necessarily Kubernetes by per se. And second, then from there, I think that the standard path we have, right? So you can have Kubernetes cluster and then alternatives, right? It would be like alternatives, and from there, it would start the education of the user. It would be, okay, Kairos by default uses Hadron, but it's compatible with this, and this. So also the documentation gets a little bit more simple. Or at least this is what I was thinking, more or less.
No, it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense to me, Ettore. One of the first things that as a user, the first thing that I had with Kairos, of course, I had Mauro at the beginning explaining me what it was, he introduced me to Kairos. But from the documentation, one thing that I always had, I'm not a concern about, but I felt that the documentation of Kairos, even now, is going to many places, and it doesn't give me a user journey. Yeah. Like yesterday, Richaka gave me information that are fundamental, but they are also, the funny thing is that they are also in the documentation, but you have to dig it through and you have to understand how the documentation of Kairos works, which is, yeah, it makes sense, yeah.
I agree with John. Just one thought that you're saying, I mean, the user asks, for example, how do I do that on Ubuntu? That's a question they may never ask if they don't understand it's possible. Because in other distros, you know, for example, that Fedora should probably come with a KDE and a GNOME version. I don't know if it does. I'm just guessing, like Ubuntu does, right? So you would look it up. You would search, okay, how do I install GNOME on it, for example? So you would have different flavors of Ubuntu. So that's something you have already experience with. But in Kairos, you have no idea that it's possible. So if you land on a page where you see Kairos with just Hadron and no mention of it, just click here, download, play with it. Then we already get enough of the question on how is it different to whatever, like Talos, for example, right? And the answer I'm always giving to people when they compare Kairos to one of the other projects is that the main big difference, there are many differences, but if I have to highlight one, is that it's distro-agnostic. And that I think should stay at the top because that's maybe the main differentiator for many people. That's what brings them to Kairos. So we have to make sure they understand it immediately.
I think it's more about the content of the documentation, and it's addressable. It's definitely addressable. We can definitely address the customization of Kairos, the customization of your distribution. Specify that we are using Hadron through, like Mauro said, throughout the examples to build up on top of Hadron what you can do. And then in the documentation, we can have a specific section of build your own infrastructure, build your own OS, build your own edge, whatever it is.
If I understand correctly also, what we want is that the person doesn't ask, how do I install this on Ubuntu? But instead that they actually say, this is what I need to get done, kind of like, how do I run a trusted boot system? And then at that point, we can tell them, yeah, if you want trusted boot, you can do it with, I don't know, these 3 different distros, because all the others don't support it yet, or they will never support it. I don't know. How do I run an NVIDIA NX or something like that? Then you have these 1 or 2 options where you can do it. That's my feeling, that's at the end what the end user wants more than anything. But maybe we do have to have some sort of mechanism like we do right now, where let's say that you always need to run on Red Hat for some reason, that we can highlight, hey, this feature is not available on Red Hat, and we know it's important for you.
But it's also, it is true. It is true, Mauro. But you also, what I think is that immutable systems are running. So there is a need within regulated industries or very much tied down industries to use immutable systems. Because they have to use immutable systems, they also have to, and they have those compliances. They also have mandates to use a given operating system. It's not that they can, and like, as you say, what I need is, they're going to say, what I need is trusted boot. They're not going to say, I need trusted boot on X operating system or whatever operating system. I need trusted boot. Then if we cannot provide the information that because you need this, you can use Kairos and you can use the operating system that you are mandated to use, then you just you just go in this path. So we have to create those paths. But my question is that the work of the open source side of things, or is that the work of the business side of things? You understand what I mean? What we are discussing when you say the user journey is more of using of the open source project.
Mm-hmm.
But when we discuss the need, I need a trusted boot. Mm-hmm. Are we discussing the business side of the open source project? Because I need trusted boot, that means that you have a business case behind it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and on that sense, I would try to make it as much vendor neutral as possible. So, for example, that's also why we never made trusted boot ISOs public as well, built by keys, because then we should handle the keys somehow, and so we should treat that or what like a company asset or an open source project asset. It would be complex. Right, so we try to avoid that landmine, basically. And I think if we keep like the documentation as it is now, it would make sense. You know, it will still make, okay, you have the way on how to handle trusted boot or more complex and advanced topic. So there is a cookbook, so to say, that we all share. We can maybe have, I don't know if it would help having two documentation, like one more like a depth handbook where there are more references, like we have now, and one more user faces instead. But I see this like trying, basically what I had in mind is now we have this huge separation between distros. You know, you have this menu when in the navbar you go there and you have to pick something. But basically what I mean, we shouldn't have that at all. And everything complex should be moved out somewhere like as a reference, under the reference section, so to say. And the user-facing part should be more the journey. And then when you go and have the download section there, you can say, hey, look, you can have Kairos. And maybe here we can mention Hadron explicitly. And then you can have Kairos with other based system. So it's clear from the download when you get the the artifact that you can have it in different ways, but the documentation applies for all the flavors in the same. Because this is the real point. So if we change this mindset, then we can have the documentation very, I want to say high level, but when we go to the detail, you're not going to say, hey, with Ubuntu you're going to do this. But we have examples on how to build Ubuntu, and we keep only the example ready. Then all the changes you want to do on top of Ubuntu, it's out of our scope,
Yeah, makes sense. Just by that discussion, I feel that the case for Docusaurus now makes more sense, because right now we have a lot of JavaScript there that it started as a hack to make it easy for people to see that there are multiple options, but with proper components we could really say, okay, you chose the path that includes always Red Hat, so we show this component or not, or whatever.
Yeah, but we just said we're not gonna split, so. And by the way, there's another problem with switching that I'm not sure you can implement the same URLs, and it might be bad for SEO if we break existing URLs, and also for people that link to them. Like if you have links to the blog or to documentation pages, you don't want to break those links. So either we have to redirect them to the new one or make sure they are the same, which might be tricky if we change the platform.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, but
okay.
yeah, okay, yeah, but we need a list of all the links, making sure they redirect correctly, and also, yeah, one more thing to do, right? But let's move on. That's the discussion for docs, which we're going to do when Jasper is around. So let's continue because we'll run out of time. NVIDIA next build on master, you just closed it because we're going to implement it in Kairos in it, right? Then I'm going to clean this up. Archive mall. Bye-bye. Now, why is this under review? Is it working?
What is this?
Chaka
It
VR.
is. It's been under review for a while now.
So we need to run it on a Raspberry Pi or something.
Excuse me.
Well, yes. So I tested it with Kimu ARM64, and it works.
Droid.
Yeah,
Yes, all right. Okay, ping people if we keep ignoring it, okay? We tend to forget, so let's not let it rot. The maintainer onboarding, is it in under review because it needs what? I thought we closed
I just
it.
need a decision on how many
voting.
votes. Yeah, and
okay.
who can vote. Yeah.
Okay, let's do it offline then. I mean, asynchronously. Multipath, that was waiting for a test, I think. Yeah, because we released with 3.6 and then, yes, they're going to verify and close. All right, keep it there. William is also part of the above story. Architecture, that's docs. Yeah, I think I had a look, but maybe you should have another look. It's kind of a deep page, I think. So I don't want to approve something. Yeah, okay, check already reviewed. So I'll let you guys finish it up. Configuration fields, we wanted to split it somehow differently. Yeah, we didn't want them all there. Some of them are deprecated and all, but yeah, we commented there, but we didn't exactly help much. So maybe we should pick it up ourselves and find which ones are deprecated. It will be a little bit hard for Jasper to figure it out. Now let me close Slack because you're talking behind the scenes. Boom, 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 boom. ARM64, that's the Hadron PR for the above ticket. Skip sync copy when in Hadron. I opened that just before the call. I was trying to reset to a Hadron image on AWS using our cloud images and it fails. And I'm trying to fix that because I want to put that in the workshop instructions. So yeah, Chaka is helping me figure out what's wrong there. Yeah, it was under review and I have to do more stuff, so I'm going to move it back. I think we already discussed that with Chaka. So it's in progress. So what's going on currently? Hadron FIPS, are we actively working on it, Chaka?
Well, there is now a FIPS target and it builds as expected and it supposedly works, but there doesn't seem to be any like generic FIPS testing, right? Something that you can run and will say, yeah, you're using FIPS. It's just, You have to pass the certification and everything. And while working on optimizing as well, I found out that some other software also has a FIPS flag around. I can't remember what it is, but I put a to do in there. So it supposedly builds with OpenSSL. It forces the OpenSSL and dependent builds to use only the FIPS engine. But I'm not sure what else do we need to do there, to be honest. It's kind of weird.
Is that remind me, because okay, is that a dynamically linked library? Like you just build OpenSSL with FIPS and then everything uses that, or you have to compile everything?
You have to compile everything that is based on OpenSSL after building OpenSSL with FIPS, and you have to set a configuration file so it uses the FIPS engine by default. Otherwise, you build with FIPS, and if you don't set anything in the config file, it will just use whatever the first engine that it can find.
For OpenSSL? So config
for
what?
For OpenSSL, or for example, for SSHD or the kernel, it will just not use the FIPS stuff.
But for the other flavors, when we enabled FIPS, we were just building our own binaries with FIPS. But the rest, we were relying on what? The upstream repos, they provided FIPS versions of everything. How did we do that? So when you're in
so
Ubuntu,
for others,
So
for others, it depends. Like, for example, for Ubuntu, you enable FIPS, and then you bring the new packages like kernel and so on that are built with FIPS. For Fedora and those, I have no idea. I think they build also their packages with FIPS. For us, it's just a different thing. We either build the image with full FIPS or not.
That's why I'm asking. So for Hadron, we have to make sure all the pieces we will bring in are compiled with FIPS flags, you know. Okay.
Yeah. So at least there is some kind of testing in there. If I enable FIPS 1 in the CMD line while booting from the live CD, something that usually doesn't work on other distros, and in our side it works. So it enables FIPS, it self-tests the kernel and whatever algorithms the kernel is using, and it verifies that they are all FIPS validated. So at least the kernel part, we can confirm that it's FIPS enabled. Otherwise, it just panics if it's not.
Oh, just to play smart here. If I was to fake FIPS support and I said, okay, this is a FIPS compliant image, use it. How will people catch me? I'm thinking because maybe we can use that mechanism to figure out if we're done. How do people check if something is FIPS enabled fully?
So you will enable the FIPS 1 in the CMD line, and kernel will panic if it's not FIPS enabled, and then you will run OpenSSL and check the FIPS engine to see if it's in there, and it will also fail if there is no FIPS engine.
But those two we already have.
Yeah. In fact, during building, I do several checks just in case. After building OpenSSL, if it's FIPS, I just try to get the FIPS enable one output from the OpenSSL engine list and so on to check that it's FIPS, it's really FIPS.
And if you put Kairos agent without FIPS in there, built without FIPS flag, would that fail somehow?
No, I don't think
intentionally,
so.
I mean, no.
Yeah, no.
So one would have to check
fail.
the binary somehow, some headers, whatever, I don't know, some symbols or something, right? To see if it's FIPS enabled. How do they check?
Well, for Golang things, you can check the flags of the build, and in fact, I think on the version we store if it's FIPS enabled or not. But it doesn't really matter because our binaries are built separately, right? So we build our binaries with FIPS separately, and we do checks already in there. So yeah, I'm not sure if
that just trust us. If nobody can check if it's actually built with FIPS, there's no way to check. that's
No.
very weird.
So the idea here is that then you will spend like, I don't know, 100K passive verification, right? And then you get that nice FIPS enable, I don't know, verificate or whatever, and then you can sell it to the federal government and things like that, showing that FIPS validation. But there is not much in the way of user space tools to check that FIPS is like properly working or so on, because it's not like a set of check marks, you know. It is very weird, and I will have to expect something to.
Yeah, with what you did, I think we can just merge it, or maybe we can just add one more test for the two things you can actually check: the kernel and OpenSSL. These are, you know, there is a way to check them. So maybe we can just add one test in our test suite that the FIPS build indeed has the kernel check and OpenSSL reports back with FIPS and done, right? The only things people can actually check, we can check automatically, but other than that, I don't think we can do anything more.
I think there is already checks in place. I think I added a new test in there, and it checks that FIPS is enabled in the kernel. And I'm not sure if I added the OpenSSL because that's done during build as well, but we could add, yeah, indeed. But I mean, this is in place in case someone wants to really use Hadron with FIPS and comes and say, okay, I'll give you the 100K that it costs to validate this. Because otherwise we're not going to be able to do it ourselves. We don't have the money for that.
Yeah. All right, because I want to respect everybody's time, and we only have 8 minutes left, and we're not gonna make it to also plan some work. William, I'm not sure what you have. I don't think we guys have anything afterwards, so maybe you can stick a little bit more to finish it up. But I want to give William the opportunity to talk about his own stories before we reach the end of this. I mean, the normal end of this call. Okay. So, William, anything you want to bring up about Cappy?
Yeah. Well, it's working. It's very exciting.
Nice.
So basically, it's a single node cluster. So single node meaning control plane and worker together. I can pass the data source. Thanks, Ichaka. I saw what was wrong with the encoding. So vSphere and CapV expect a double encoding, basically for double encoding. So when it comes in, then it gets decoded once, and then from what I saw, Kairos is doing its own decoding once as well. So the YAML is clean when it comes in. Basically, so what I am. So I can provision clusters. What I'm working on now, it's a method that captures the can capture through the provider, can get the information about the virtual machines created. So namely the IP. Then from the cloud config can get the credentials so that it can get the kube config that is in and put it in a secret in the management cluster, and then evaluate if the cluster is provisioned or not. For the moment, it stays in provisioning, but I'm working on the method. I think I'll have it ready. As soon as I have that method ready, I can move on to another provider. I want to have multiple providers so that also Dimitris can test out. I think the next one I'll work on the provider for KubeVirt. But the first, I need to have the whole method built so that I can move it to the next provider as well. But it looks nice.
Nice. I think for the providers are almost the same. So I haven't worked on it for a while. I spent some time some weeks ago.
Yeah, I saw this PR, Dimitris. I have ignored it for now because I need to first clean up this whole logic for the retrieval.
No worries. It's in draft. What I wanted to bring up is that switching from KubeVirt to vSphere or whatever was just was kind of minimal. So if you check here, most of it is just a helper tool I created. In the actual providers, there's only, I don't exactly remember which file it is, but there's only one. How can I list all the files quickly? There was just one file in your provider where we copy something from one CRD to another. I don't exactly remember, it's been weeks. But yeah, to support another, let's say, what was it called? Infrastructure provider, you just need minimal changes. So
yeah, the changes are not many, but you need to to support another provider, another infrastructure provider, the fundamental thing is that you have a method to what I call for the managed cluster to call back home. To say back to the management cluster, what is my state? This is my kube config, and these are my machines. So that's the important thing. The one of vSphere won't work with the one of KubeVirt or AWS or AKS or whatever we talk. So
which is very weird because there was supposed to be a separation between the infrastructure provider and then the bootstrap provider and all that. So they seem to be leaking into each other now. If you have to implement vSphere logic, the copy provider.
No, not vSphere logic. You need to tie the infrastructure provider. There are. Yeah, I understand.
There is glue needed. Yeah, I was under the impression that generally speaking, they have a very clear API and you don't have to care about what infrastructure you're building on, but it doesn't seem to be the case. But yeah, anyway, I'll let you finish it up, so I'm not picking it up, but we can have a look together. It's bringing up a KubeVirt setup, let's say, and trying to use the provider. So I don't remember where it was failing exactly, but it was in good state.
There is another thing that I wanted to bring up. This Cloud-init thing, this data source thing, made me think. Right? I mean, now is vSphere. Now I know how to pass the data source, how to have a Kairos image that is expecting a Cloud-init configuration to come in from its provider. What are we doing? How is it going to look like for bare metal? Because the data source is going to be the same, right? I mean, not the same. Sorry, the same construct is going to happen. So if I use Tinkerbell, or if I use Metal Cube, or if I use Basket 7 or whatever bare metal infrastructure provider I'm using, I have to pass to the metal a Cloud-init. So what's going to be the data source? How am I passing that? So
I mean, you could also, in bare metal, you usually not flash. How do you say that? Apply the image to the disk, and then you can have it built in. So when you build the cloud image for whatever bare metal you're using, because there are different methods, right? You may have a recovery console or whatever. So you usually have an image file and you apply that on the disk, and you could have you don't necessarily need the data source. You can just, bake it in, right? Bake the config in if there is no data source provider supported for that bare metal.
Yeah, but you are thinking about a cluster of a single node. I'm thinking of a cluster of 100 nodes.
You need to feed something, but that's up to the bare metal provider to support. How do you usually, not in Kairos, generally, how do you feed in data source, Cloud-init in bare metal?
That is the thing. That the cloud images, to be cloud images, they are going to be expecting cloud config to be passed. So that this whole Cloud-init, cloud config thing, right? So normally the provider, the infrastructure provider, would would have something like a pseudo device, like a floppy or something, or a second, that is going to pass that to the cloud image.
So do you already support that?
Yeah. I don't know the data sources that Kairos supports. I mean, maybe I
We didn't implement it. I think we were getting it from Linux Kit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's. I added also here somewhere. But maybe I'm pushing too much forward the concept, but maybe.
I think
so I don't think we ever did anything for that. Yeah, we get it for free from some things like this.
Yeah, and for 100 nodes or something like that, you will use something like a config URL in the ISO already bundle, right? So it just picks the config from a remote location, or you can use ISOs as well. There is the CD-ROM data source in which you put an ISO in there or a USB as well in the machine, and it will just pick it from there. So yeah.
I was thinking of some other ways, but using what
they have a list.
Okay.
You can find the list in various places, but yeah, that's one list here.
Yeah,
I think you can see that here.
Yeah, I saw Linux Kit that there were yeah. But I'll
the good thing is that now the data sources are moving to Yip, so we can expand them easily with extra data sources and local data sources or whatever. We can just build new stuff.
But you mean Yip or the fork?
Yip. So we had a fork. Okay, then the mother fork, yeah. No, now he's back. I closed it already.
All right. So, William, I'm not sure I'm gonna have too much time to help you, but it seems you are already working on things. So, because I have to finish the work on for the workshop, but yeah, let me know. Yeah, I can jump in and out whenever you need me.
Yeah. I'll post also the messages in the Kairos maintainers Slack. So if somebody has time, can answer. My questions are normally more in lack of knowledge of certain things of Kairos, but I'll okay.
Awesome. All right. That's for the Cappy story. Let's continue. Guys, do you have time? Do you need a break? Since we're recording that, a break wouldn't be very convenient for people watching it.
Yeah, let's just finish from my side. Yeah,
let's try to
continue.
Yeah. Itzaga, Ettore, William, you're good? All right. Don't know. Is that in Prox hardware enabled kernel for Hadron?
That should be close. That was about at the start of Hadron. We had like only the cloud kernel, which was just for running it on the VMware or VirtualBox or things like that. And we needed like a proper kernel with hardware support, which is now in there. And I tested that on.
It's a build flag?
It is a build flag. It's a kernel type, I think. Yeah.
So when you build Hadron, you get to choose what kind of kernel you want to build, right?
Yeah.
All right. There is now an option to build with the hardware kernel or not. This is done. Done. Nice. Firmware update package to Hadron. Did we continue on this? I remember you said something about Python being needed and something's not working.
Yeah, so there is a pull request in there that's firmware update, but the problem is that it brings so many dependencies that we didn't know if we were gonna just add it to the image or keep it, as an example. Like we have other examples in there on how to build firmware updates.
Can it be a system extension? Can we do this as a system extension?
No, because it has paths that are not covered by sysex.
And they do it by mistake, or is the assumption of system extensions project that everything will be under /user wrong?
Well,
Are they
for
expecting
one,
things in the wrong places?
no, it's just because we bring dependencies that go in under lib, and system extensions don't cover the lib part.
Can we include those libs and keep the rest as a system extension? Would that help? Are the libs that big to be included?
They are too big.
How do we handle that in the future? If people say, I want something in lib, we say, build it yourself, right? So you can't do extensions with libs. All right. Okay.
Yeah, they get the examples do exactly that. The examples that we have in there, they just use the toolchain image to build stuff from source, and then the base layer is the release Hadron image, and they just copy the layer on top, and that gives you a full image with everything in place.
Okay, I thought I'll let you decide if we can just close it or if we need an example on how to do that. I don't remember where the request came from. If there is an actual business need for this, so we need an example.
So yeah, there is. I don't know. I would also prepare, if possible, an example with the sys upgrade. Because I think it's not going to be the only case that you're going to have here. I mean, it's fine adding to the base image, but I'm pretty sure we're going to get asked about having it in text. And I mean, it's not. I don't say it that hard, because there is the option to make systemd to merge with more paths. So I think it's quite possible. We have to just document it, Yes. And that would be enough.
Is lib, do you have any overlay directories? Like I was thinking that it could be, we could make a Kairos convention where when you put something in a path, a writable path by system extensions and /user, for example, then we would automatically copy that in lib. Like say, when I find something in that directory, I'm going to copy that in lib automatically as an overlay, like a bind mount, so we can allow people to write in lib. Or would that break any expectations of how system extensions work? Would that be a bad idea?
It may. No idea.
Usually bad ideas is something you can actually try, and if it's really a bad idea, people will start shouting at you. That's your way to test. I don't know. Okay, I just said that. So. Let's keep that in mind if some people ask, but I see how people needing libraries built will be a problem in the future. So I'll keep this open and we can discuss it, but what I understand is that we need an example, maybe a repo where we build a Hadron flavor with firmware updating, and people just pick it up and fork it and do whatever they want, but they don't need to figure out how to do that from scratch. But yeah, please comment here. Yeah.
Very common. It's going to be a very common ask to add packages, and one way it's in the base image, but when they are big, we have to provide a concrete, complete example on how to do that with the system upgrade. With the sysext. So.
Yeah, but we said we can't do libs with sysext unless we do something like what I suggested, which we don't know if it's a good idea or not.
Oh, wait.
I mean, we can, but
you can.
It's flimsy, let's say, because it's not supported. We already are using it in a non-supported way, and they could just break it at any point.
Yeah, but it's our duty, as an upstream team to collaborate with systemd to make it, it's there. It can be used, so we have to make it standard. Right? We have to work with the community. It's useful. I mean, we can pretend it's not a problem, but if users need to overlay other paths in the system, there should be a way, right?
Yeah. But I mean, it's not the intended use, and they're never gonna support it upstream for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the risk is that then somebody's going to fork it and make it compatible with system sysx and support more cases, you know? Because and I would not go into that direction, but I would prefer, you know, to collaborate and make it working, because we are going to get there. We're going to get there, and we're already getting asked about FW updates, you know, this one. And you can imagine.
So we use the high-key solution then now, put it as a sysx, and in parallel start a conversation with systemd people, or
that would be a good idea, you know, to start, you know, upstream and trying at least to understand where they are aiming at. If they are aiming at removing it, or like nobody's maintaining it, so we're going to remove it, so we have to take ownership, you know, these kind of things. Because this is the thing, we have to understand what they have in mind. If we can help.
is that /lib we need?
Yeah, /lib, but I see it as like arbitrary paths, you know? It's not /lib, because today it's /lib, but why not, I don't know, OPT, you know, these kind of things.
Because the whole thing started with a blog post, if I recall correctly, which said everybody should be writing to /user, but I might be wrong. That's what I remember. And there has been some fights for distros to stop writing to other places and put everything there, and then we're going to tell them, okay, you can write wherever you want, because now we support that. As discussed. Okay, comment. All right, that's why it's still open, clarified. I can move it back if you're not actively working on it, then we can let someone else pick it up. Chaka, are you fine with that?
Yeah.
If someone can pick it up, but yeah. Hadron beta release, isn't that done?
Yes.
We have a beta release. I can close that unless someone says there is something missing, and there is a big checklist with nothing checked, and sub issues with something still not done. No, these need some lab. Someone has to check all these and move them to some other epic. The blog post, we are waiting for that to be published, no?
No, that one we would need to come up with a new one, but I would say that can go after. It doesn't need to be part of the official release.
Yeah, I don't know where these tickets live otherwise, and they're going to get lost if I close this one. So I leave it there, but which
they're in the river. Yeah.
I will remove it.
Sorry? Okay. Please do so. So yeah, remove them, put them someplace else, and we can close this and continue, because this is about the beta release, and that's done. The rest of it. Marketing and all. Social post content that's around Hadron, I guess, but I'll let you groom it too.
Yeah.
That's probably part of that one. I'm not sure. Upgrade errors. That's Hadron. No, that's Sargent, and I think we replied. Something. Yeah, and we reverted. We removed that flag and yeah, okay. So this is under review actually, and then I'll close it next time probably if Sargent doesn't come back with a reply. Where is it? There is fixes set source. That's the dash missing from K3S, I believe. But yeah, it's in progress. Fix it. Don't worry. I'm on it. The sync copy, what we already discussed, for Hadron to work on the cloud. Oh, that's the missing dash, but I wanted to do one more thing. Not forget. Yeah, trigger the CI. Sorry. I want to trigger the CI. So yeah, this is all the things in progress. Let's focus really quickly on what we have to do this week. So I'm probably going to spend today and tomorrow writing the rest of the docs, fixing what doesn't work on cloud for Hadron. So do all the fixes to put Hadron on the cloud for the hybrid installation and all, and then testing all these instructions out just to make sure we're done. Also, Mauro, we have to I have to check the slides from Mauro is creating for FOSDEM, and we had an idea on a little quiz we want to run in the corridors because we don't have a table in FOSDEM. So Mauro, we'll have to discuss on how we will try to do that. We only need 2 or 3 people to agree to play with us on that little quiz, and we need a giveaway to convince them to do so, and maybe they will allow us to post something in social media and YouTube and whatever. But we wanted to bring this up during the presentation, the results of that little quiz, not a little quiz, like a game we're going to play. So yeah, so some things to do there. So I'm expecting at least 2 days of this week or even 3 to go to these things. Mara, I guess you're also occupied with presentation stuff.
I can help you out, guys. I can help you out, guys. At FOSDEM if you need.
Awesome, that would be cool. Thanks. I am working also with Jordan on the presentation for configuration management camp, but we already made some good progress. I would say maybe half a day of this week more. Yeah.
All right, so let's see how much more we can squeeze in. We already have that. I guess we can keep it around to start a CSEX for firmware updates. It's because you said you already tried that. If you have any code branch, whatever that builds it, please link to it. So if someone picks it up, they can just not re-implement it. If you have already fixes there on how to compile things and build it. Then there was this whole ticket. We only wanted to reply there. Tori, since you're back, maybe you also have an idea. There are enough docs to maybe see something wrong. And we replied, and I asked, but yeah, please have a look. I don't remember the whole story to describe it, but there's something with peer-to-peer and this VPN breaking after an upgrade or something. They don't connect back or something. The boot assessment on Yuki. We were waiting for system D to implement something, Chaka, and then they
did. So no answer in my pull request, but one of the folks from Nix just commented and sent a different pull request to something that Lena claimed before to maintain the status quo and also allow this to work. It's kind of like you put a special symbol in front of the default entry, and that will make it ignore the no bad entries. So it seems like we are not the only ones that found this, and in fact, it's kind of the same issue. It used to work for them, and then suddenly it stopped working. So same thing, they upgraded system D and then found that they kind of fixed something and the behavior changed. So I'm hopeful that will work. Meanwhile, I merged 2 pull requests in there to.
Bye-bye.
Ciao, ciao.
So I merged 2 pull requests to make it a one-shot entry for now, right? So when you do a boot entry, it will just not set it as default forever, but just set it on the FE variable. That means it will only be valid for one time.
How do you change the default? Generally?
You can. So now everything is ordered by the sort ID that we set when installing, and the sort ID is usually the correct thing. It's active passive recovery. So if active fails, it will just go down, and recovery will passive will get in. If passive falls down, then it goes down in the list, and then recovery. And you can still force it to boot on a path entry, but it will just try once. So that avoids the boot loop that we will otherwise.
So we're good as a fix, then we close it. But maybe if you have some links to system DPRs or discussions or whatever, can you just put them here so we can easily find them?
Yeah. I was writing on the pull request of this guy from Nix this morning because I just saw it. And I'm hopeful that they will accept that because it doesn't change the existing workflow, even if it's wrong. And we will be able to then, on the next systemd version, just roll back everything and make it work as before.
Okay, we switch to one-shot change in boot entries, and this should be okay for now. Yeah, for now. And then I'll link to you to remind you that Ichaka, please link to the upstream discussion PRs, whatever, here for reference, and let's close this, okay?
So this currently doesn't really affect us because we ship an older version of systemd in Aurora boot. So we are safe and we maintain the behavior that we used to do. So potentially this won't even hit us if the pull request from these guys merge on time and a new systemd version is released. We potentially can upgrade Aurora boot to that and just roll back those changes and go on. But this is kind of so we can continue with our work without having to be blocked or potentially releasing something that can enter into a boot loop.
Yeah, that's nice. I just want the links for the future. So if we are talking about this in 2 months from now, it will be hard to find the links, but searching our tickets for boot assessment is easier. So that's why I wanted putting that there, and we're done. But that leaves us with little to do above the waterline, other than maybe replying to this one and creating a system extension. And whatever we already have open. So let me very quickly go and find your preferences in what you want to work on the Kairos tickets, but I need a faster navigation here. Where are the projects? I want the big planning. Come on. Roadmap. Then why it's so slow?
You have it kind of broken.
Come on, scroll. And then 3, 7. Where is 3, 7? There's 3, 7. There we are. That's what we're focusing on. And where's the list? There it is. All right. Copy, William's on it. Hadron Linux code enhancements, that's an epic. And so which one would be the top priority? The next one? This one we planned. Security audit, I guess not yet, maybe. The beta release has some leftovers.
Maybe worth mentioning is, do we think Hadron will be in stable or release candidate or something of sorts for FOSDEM? That's about less than a month from now.
I think it is, right?
Nice.
Like currently what we are doing is just expanding with missing stuff like FIPS and ARM64, which are not, I would say, not essential.
Right. Okay, cool. Then just to know what kind of a message we're going to bring. Nice.
Okay, do I need to pull any news story in? Most of them look like polishing it up. These are docs, I think. These are some release marketing things left. Metal as a service data source. That would be not Hadron related though. But I don't see anything like security audit. Maybe we can trigger it. Are we ready for that? Before you ask for an audit, usually you make sure you're ready.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But what's left to be sure?
I think we should check if it's one per year or something like that, or it's limitless. Because if it's limitless, we can ask for, or I mean, several a year. We can ask for one now, so we know where we stand, and then fix things and so on, and then ask for another one. If it's just one a year, then I don't know. We have to think carefully.
Yeah, these are already enough to work on it. I mean, even asking, that's something that has to happen. So there it is, and I'm going to move it there. All right. So there isn't much coding, but there is quite some work. I think maybe we can even leave it as it is, because there are going to be bugs here and there, especially now that we try out Hadron like in the cloud, and also maybe we don't have to fill up all the available time we have this week and leave some space to reply to, unexpected bugs. So should I leave it like that?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Right. Tori, you too?
I think Tori had to leave.
He had to leave. Okay, so I'll stop sharing my screen. And let me quickly check my calendar to remind you that, okay, there's nothing else left today. So have a good week.
Have a great week, guys.
Bye.
All right, folks. Bye-bye.